Across several main episodes on this channel, we've come across earthworks. There are several different types, but usually they take the form of lumps and bumps in a field. One thing I often say when we see them is that the camera can't really pick them up unless they're well defined. What do I actually mean by that though? Let's dig a bit deeper. In archaeology, earthworks are artificial changes in the level of the land. Typically, they are piles of artificially placed soil or in some cases rocks. Earthworks can themselves be archaeological features, or they can hide other features beneath the surface. Generally speaking, earthworks on the landscape are the scars left by the historic buildings or their foundations, the latter of which are usually buried. They also show the scars of agricultural practice in some fields. We call those ridge and furrow, and they're defined by sets of parallel depressions and ridges in the ground, primarily formed thanks to historic farming techniques. There are two main categories of archaeological earthwork, positive and negative. Positive earthworks are those where the soil or rocks are built up on top of the previous ground level. Negative ones are those which are cut into the landscape. More often than not, positive earthworks are the ones you'll come across on the English landscape. Here I'm showing you an example of a medieval manorial complex, and the lumps and bumps you can see in this field would have had buildings on them once upon a time. We often see earthworks where there used to be a medieval village, and the remains are usually referred to as a DMV, literally short for deserted medieval village. We also see moated sites, defined mainly by a ditch that surrounds a central island, which would have had at least one building on it. Castle mounds or mottes are good examples of those, but a lot of moated sites once had manor houses on them. This one here, with its well-pronounced central island, definitely wasn't a castle. Earthworks aren't just limited to former buildings and farming remnants. They can also include hill forts, henges, mounds, platform mounds, effigy mounds, enclosures, long barrows, tumuli, ridge and furrow, mottes, round barrows and tombs. And we've seen pretty much all of those on TVI. Earthworks can vary in height from a few centimetres to several metres, and this is why sometimes you have to literally be standing right next to them to see them. My camera can't usually pick up the smallest ones, they look flat instead. If a set of earthworks is well pronounced, they're much bigger and clearly visible to the camera. Shallower earthworks are often more visible as crop marks or in aerial photographs if they're taken when the sun is low in the sky. In the same way, they might also be more visible after a frost or a light dusting of snow. They can also be detected and plotted using light detection and ranging, which is often shortened to LiDAR. This technique is particularly useful for mapping small variations in land height that would be difficult to see with the naked eye. They're also useful for features that are hidden by vegetation. An accurate survey of earthworks can enable them to be interpreted without the need for excavation. For example, earthworks from deserted medieval villages can be used to determine the location, size and layout of the lost settlement. Often these earthworks can point to the purpose of such a settlement, as well as the context in which it existed. The trouble is, earthworks can date from practically any time period. This is one of the challenges that faces historians and archaeologists when they explore them. The earliest known earthworks are Neolithic, but some do exist out there that aren't very old at all. Knowing the difference is the key to answering questions about the history of our landscape. The structures can also stretch for many miles. A great example of that is Offa's Dyke on the border between England and Wales. So, next time you come across a patch of earthworks, you might be tempted to look online to see if anything is known about them. The website Historic England is your friend for that. That shows you almost every known set of earthworks in the country. But believe it or not, there are several examples out there, even in this modern technological world, which have never been explored, excavated, or otherwise. Who knows what secrets may hide within those?